Well, one expert on the CCP says China has long been influencing both America and Canada's election. One America's Nathaniel Manner has more.
For decades now, China has been making inroads into all facets of American life, and now many are worried that they may be influencing our own government. Here to talk about this is the host of the Gray Matter podcast, Leighton Gray. Leighton, it's great to see you today.
Yes, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on the program.
Right, so you say China has not only infiltrated America and Canada, but they may have been interfering in both countries' elections. Can you tell us how they were able to do this?
Well, this goes back a little bit in Canada. Back in 2013, before Justin Trudeau became our prime minister 9 years ago, he was asked at a fundraiser which nation he most admired. And instead of answering the United States or Great Britain or some other country with which we have a historical relationship, he shocked everyone by saying China. And when asked why China, he said that he admired their basic dictatorship because it could turn its economy and make other decisions on a dime. Well, since becoming Prime Minister of Canada, he has slowly but surely turned Canada into a CCP client state. And this is perhaps best revealed in terms of the 2019 and 2021 national elections, in relation to which it's now been proven, there's clear evidence that the CCP interfered both in terms of money and in terms of influence. So in Canada, in those two elections, it's as though everything that that the Russia hoax about Donald Trump in 2016, it's as though all of that were true and actually is true for Canada. And of course, this has far-reaching implications, not only for Canada, but also for the Western world, because it should be clear to anyone who's paying attention that what China is very interested in doing and very invested in doing through things like Silk Roads, through the World Health Organization, through the World Economic Foundation, and also through Agenda 2030, is to attack and destroy United States hegemony and thereby Western hegemony. And so what's going on in Canada, I think, should be of grave concern not only to Canadians, but to everyone in the Western world, including in the United States.
And where do you see China, trying to influence our elections here in the United States? Have they been doing this before, or are they possibly gearing up to make such a move?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because I went through a cancel culture experience back in 2020, and two of the comments that I made publicly, which got me into trouble, was that BLM was in fact a leftist front that was hurting Black people in the United States, which turned out to be true. In fact, BLM, I think, now stands for Big Luxury Mansions, and is basically a feminist front for Black women. And also, I said publicly that I thought that George Soros was going to use his influence to impact some of the elections in 2020, which of course turned out to be true. So these are interests, let's call them NGOs, that have connections, deep connections to globalism. And behind globalism, in my respectful opinion, is the CCP. And so it's through these different structures that we're seeing influence being exerted in national elections. But more than that, is also being used to bribe and influence important public officials and high office. The relationship between the Biden administration and the CCP is becoming pretty clear, and also some of the corruption that's rife within the Biden administration can be traced back to the CCP. And this is even more evident in Canada, where our government, our national government, is actually suppressing and shutting down the investigation into its own corruption, and the corruption essentially is in terms of this connection to the CCP. In fact, this was mentioned just this past week in Congress, where a letter was generated, questioning the Prime Minister's connection to China and to some of these globalist influences.
Well, speaking of China's globalist empire, we just saw a group of lawmakers led by Michael McCaul travel to Taiwan after China held several military drills, which were perceived by many as war games. So if Joe Biden wins re-election, could we see them try to expand on this globalist empire and try to take Taiwan?
Well, I saw some of that video. It's pretty horrifying to see the technology that's there. Of course, I don't doubt that the United States has its own technology that is at least the equal of the Chinese. I doubt that the Chinese are interested in a hot war with the United States. In fact, I think this is why they are sort of using these covert techniques to demoralize and to sort of infect the culture in the West. And so I don't think the Chinese are interested in a hot war, but I think that those of us in the West, especially in the United States, are paying very close attention to the activities of the Chinese. And I think what you saw there was equivalent to what what the kids now call flexing. And I wouldn't be surprised if the United States engages in a similar demonstration, just to show the Chinese who's boss.
All right, well, Leighton Gray, host of the Gray Matter podcast, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, sir.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.